before you begin, and Councilor Hervey, are those cards going from there? Yes. Okay, they're blank. All right, time is yours. Go right ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor and council members. First of all, I want to say it's been a privilege serving the city of Rochester and the state senate. It's been a very challenging experience. I've commented to friends that the learning curve is like taking a 30-hour college credit college course every semester, especially when we're in session with committee requirements, etc. I love it. I love the learning. Granite State Futures and regional planning programs are areas that I've studied and learned a lot about in the last 2 years. And the more I've learned, the more concerned I become. Now, I want to jump over to an editorial that appeared in the Sunday Citizen this past Sunday by George Will. It's very applicable to what we're looking at tonight. He's speaking about the Rio Plus 20 conference that was recently held, and refers back to the 1992 Rio conference, which is why this is the Rio Plus 20 conference. And he's commenting on the people who are there, what the outcome is, and he says, and by now apocalypse fatigue, that is boredom from being repeatedly told the end is near, is entering in. And I'm just going to pick a few pieces of this that are appropriate. This began 2 generations ago in 1972, when we were warned by computer models developed at MIT that we were doomed. We were supposed to be pretty much extinct by now, or at least pretty miserable. We are neither, so what's wrong? That year begat The Limits of Growth, a book from this Club of Rome, which called itself a project on the predicament of mankind. The New York Times said that that book was one of the most important documents of our age, and argued that economic growth was doomed by intractable scarcities. Again, going back to the MIT models, they foresaw the collapse of civilization because non-renewable resource depletion and population growth. Time magazine, in a story about the limits of growth, exemplified the media's version of hysteria, and this is a quote from Time magazine in the early 70s. The furnaces of Pittsburgh are cold. The assembly lines of Detroit are still. In Los Angeles, a few gaunt survivors of the plague desperately till freeway center strips. Fantastic? No. Only grim inevitability if society continues its present dedication to growth and progress in quotes. And that's end quote for the New York Times article. Now, I bring this up because, and again, this is from the article, since 1970, when known reserves of copper were 280 million tons, about 400 million tons have been produced globally, and reserves are now estimated at almost 700 million tons. This is something that does affect us, and that a lot of copper goes into the homes we build. Aluminum consumption has increased 16-fold since 1950. And since 1950, the world has consumed 4 times the 1950 known reserves, and today the known reserves could sustain current consumption for 177 years. Potential U.S. gas resources have doubled in the last 6 years, and with the resulting drop in natural gas prices, and so on. The modelers missed something: human ingenuity in discovering, extracting, and innovating, which did not just appear after 1972. The impetus that I believe is behind much of regional, state, and national planning commissions is the concept that we can't sustain the growth that we have. We can't sustain the consumption that we are, the amount of materials that we are consuming, and yet when we look at the resources that we have today, nearly everything is in we have higher reserves today than we did 20 or 40 years ago. The more I've read about this program, as I said, the more concerned I become. I believe, and I strongly believe, that we should not, we must not, in any circumstances and in any way, diminish or delegate the property rights of our citizens to a regional, state, or national planning organization. and I would say especially a regional, state, or national planning organization with appointed members. If we need a regional planning commission, it should be elected by the people within that region.
Yes.
I think anything other than that is a violation of both our state and our federal constitution. I urge you not to pass this measure. Thank you.
GrokTV.